Crypto market has yet another surprise. The price is moving higher in Bitcoin terms. The dominance is pushing higher. After a month of consolidation here in this range, now it is breaking to the upside. You're watching the news popping about XRP ETF, which is coming soon. So Bearable Bull actually tweets this out, showing the possibility of this. And that's 12th. It's coming soon. Now, we already know that this is making waves. The utility on top of the existing utility is building up the demand for this XRP, which kind of actually shows like, okay, that's just the proven mechanism. If you have a stable coin on that ledger, the native asset on the ledger is still XRP, and the easy way to move money around, even though you're sending a stable coin, it is on that ledger. So the utility is expanding. The news is moving through. So now it's a dollar-backed thing. Say, for example, you look at Ether. You have a ton of ERC20 tokens, which increases the value of the overall network. Companies value the network like crypto. In crypto, they don't have the quarterly reports to do the valuations. What they have is Metcalfe's law, Reed's law, whichever they use, and that kind of comes back to this. This is a huge step towards the future valuation, and that can be one of the reasons why we are holding on to this moving average and the trend line support. At one point, I thought we were going to break to the downside. Then the news came in and it went back up. We're still there. That's a good news. Now, Bitcoin did bounce back up. What does that mean for us? Because Bitcoin showed you a lot of odds, and here in the SI family, we talked about this possibility. When we were at 66,500, we talked about look for 65,300, close to that range. And we all know what happened. The price went down to 65,250, so close. Now that the price is back up, remember, we had the thought process shared on the micro again and again, showing you the micro to short-term movements. And we are already close to that $69,000 in Bitcoin. The real question is, when would altcoins start moving? Because the Bitcoin dominance is now breaking to the upside. So unless you look at the macro structure of what exactly is happening here and what has happened in the past, you miss a lot of information out. You don't want to at this point in time. You really don't want to miss out what these assets are going to do. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys get to learn how to become the next top 10% of this world. Sometimes it's all about patience. Sometimes it's knowing which asset has the upside, which asset is showing you the exact same structure which you can utilize for your benefit. But then you need a ton of patience for that to play out. I was thinking like 3 months, 4 months time. I was wrong. The market took like 7 months. But what happened? The price now is here. You can see that. No lines, nothing, no thought process being pushed on your mind. This is what you can see. And this was my original thought process. So I was actually saying this. Like, I'm not saying this is exactly what's going to happen, but it does look like there is a good probability, right? And now we are traveling to the upside. Don't chase the green candles, guys. A lot of people do that, but don't. You need to position yourself. Imagine at this, what was that? 4.3? Yeah, 4.5. That's here at that range. If you position yourself back in the day, you were green within a couple of weeks and you never went in red. It was riding to the upside. Now accelerating. And the moment you see these acceleration, you understand what's coming next. And the problem is, you have another 100%. But for those who bought in from that time, yeah, they're compounding. This is how the market works. You need a lot of patience. And recently, before the current pump started here, we shared the thought process of this against Bitcoin showing momentum. So the SI family has huge advantage in the market because we do price in the micro moves, in the medium term, in the long term. So whichever type of investor you are, you get what you want in the SI family. Now, that being said, we'll ride into the market. We'll look at what exactly the market is doing now. Because as of now, it's not that time for euphoria. Unless we see there is a breakout at this level, we can still do the 1, the 2, the 3 and correct back down, right? That's possible. If we don't see a breakout, that means you are going to do this kind of a thing. But then let's look at the price action, not just the pattern. Let's look at the divergence, not just the structure, not just the trend, and try and involve everything as much as possible. The more data points you have, the higher the odds of you looking at the market in the right way. So here, repeatedly, I was quoting this. The price was making a higher low at a time when the RSI was showing you a double bottom. That was a divergence. That showed a hidden bullish divergence. So as of now, that still is valid in the market. The primary thing which we would like to see is a break of this trend line. The moment we actually get to see that would be something like this. If we do make this as a double bottom here in Bitcoin, then you travel here, break that. Now, when you move on to a 3-day chart, this move, for you to go parabolic in this asset, you need to see this breaking to the upside. But the odds of that doesn't look great. Because say you put the argument if the price is still going to go upside, but the RSI may not go upside. We saw that the price went from $28,000 all the way up to $74,000 and still the RSI did not breach that level. And now it's confirming kind of a slowdown, which kind of, rhymes with what we were talking about in the recent past about what we can watch here. Because when the history rhymes, you don't want to go against it. And remember, in the last video, we shared the thought process of where exactly XRP may start moving higher. And if that's the point we are putting, I'm like, we are 90% sure that we are going to see something like this. And then we enter this phase in time, which was the best time to be in XRP back then. Now, it's not just XRP. It's a lot of different assets in this market. Right now, when you go into the market, you cannot say XRP is going to be the best performing asset with the current market structure. It is a large cap asset and you would not see the price movements of a small cap asset or a medium cap asset here. So you should differentiate them within your portfolio. Then when you do look at the market, you can look at it in different ways. You want to put it into BTC, fine. Look at the assets which are performing against Bitcoin. This is one of the easiest way to look at the market. And then go take one of them. Say whether you want to choose Mantle, whether you want to choose eCash, whichever you want. You go into the market and then ask yourself that question. What are you watching? What can you observe in that particular asset, right? It's not about how others feed you, but it's really about what you can learn from the market. And if you put Wyckoff, if you put Elliott Wave, you will see anything coming into the textbook pattern. And that's when you understand, okay, yeah, the macro looks fine. The micro is what it matters to kind of make it perfect. Your entry, try to reach that perfect moment. But no matter what you do, it's really hard to touch that perfection. But again, you're trying to reduce the odds of that trade going against you. And in this position, the market shows you this is the trend. So the moment you break to the upside, what happens? Boom, it goes up, right? So once you understand these, you need to position yourself. Because remember, we talked about this asset at this point here before this breakout. So if you were involved in there, you already saw your portfolio running decent move, 150% just in that short term. Now, if the history rhymes, now what are you doing? You're doing something like this. Then what happens? You continue. So market is now entering that phase where assets are starting to pop. It will outperform Bitcoin. Now, if that's not a huge concern for you, cool. You go into the market, you look at the volume. That matters a lot. If there is no volume involved, stay away from it. Because you don't want to see a 10x in your portfolio and you're not able to take it out. You don't want that. You want to see a 5x and take it out, which is much better than a 10x without being able to cash it out. So look for the volume and then the price action. If those come into reality and you are looking at a huge opportunity, use it. Say you take this one, YGG. Remember we were talking about this asset 2-3 months back, giving you guys the breakdown, the thought process, everything when the price was still here, but before the breakout. Now that's the hardship here, right? When you plot something and say this is the macro support turning into a resistance, now turning into a support, how many of you would buy there, expecting this run up? And the run up was so choppy, if your emotions are not well balanced, you're already out with each of these drop. The moment you zoom out, if your patience, if your discipline allows you to do that, this is where you make money. You put that chart on a weekly or a monthly and you understand, wow, that's just enormous. This change in volume just showed you something changed on a monthly. Something changed. The continuation came here and that was followed up by a lot of smaller volume which still pushed the price up. Now, how many of those assets can you actually find in the market? Say you go on a weekly chart, you go to different assets, say infrastructure assets. This is the volume structure you're looking at. You had this amount of volume showing you someone scooped it up at the bottom. Whoa, that was a perfect Wyckoff buying opportunity with that Greek structure. Now, where is the price? The price actually came up. Even when the price is down, considering the recent local move, those guys who understood this and bought and threw out this, they're in profit. They're riding this to the upside. Now, if you are a short-term trader, that's where a ton more of concerns come in. You're looking at the momentum, you're looking at the reducing momentum, but then you'll have to break things down onto a micro level. You need a lot more info from the data points of technical analysis. If you're trading this, that's the only way you can beat the market, or at least get the average return. When the market shows you this possibility of a double bottom and a confirmation of that with a retest and a bounce, why would you go against it? So that's exactly what you're waiting for here. The moment you get that double bottom breakout, yeah, go in. Most likely you're going to get this leg up. And yeah, if you're a trader, you're worried about this as a resistance. So unless that breaks to the upside, you will have correction for sure. Which, just as we talked about YGG, looks the same. Choppy moves till a point where everything breaks. That's something we have seen in the past. Does this look familiar? Does this look familiar? I just talked about the exact same thing. You would go up, you will slow down, but that slow down does not mean you're going back down. Your trend line at the bottom also matters. If you observe any assets in the market, learn from them, historical data, fluctuations, what happened with them, how things evolved, all of them shows you this. When your trend line at the bottom is squeezing things to the upside, you have something big coming. At first, it won't look like it. You will have these choppy legs where the majority would get out and then boom. Now, it's not just one asset. It's not just two assets. These are a lot of different assets which have shown us the exact same thing happening in the market. So the moment you understand, okay, this structure tells you a story, you don't want to go against that story. You want to use that to your advantage, right? This was back in 2021 in few assets. What I'm talking about is the assets which are showing that exact pattern right now. That's one of the reasons why I was going through in the SI family against some assets against Bitcoin, some assets with the macro structure, some assets just for the spot riders without leverage, some for low levered guys. Why? They're showing you this. And if you're highly levered, these kind of small choppy moves will kick you out and still the price will go up. So those who entered without leverage or those who entered with little leverage will make this gain. Even if they don't catch the top, it's completely fine. Imagine you ride this one. Great. Now, if you are able to time it a little bit better, you would go higher, higher, higher. The market showed you that way to exit here at this range. Fine. Follow the market. This is how you utilize the market and the data available in the market. So right now, say for example, you come back to XRP, what's the trouble which we have in this asset, right? A lot of people would argue that it's not going to go anywhere. A lot of them would actually put the perspective that we are not doing anything. But if you do look at the trend, this was a very painful trend. But the exact same thing as we saw in Chili's, in Veracity, in all of those assets, and in XRP too. So that was in 2016, 2017. This was when? 2020. And then you got the 2021. So it didn't happen the next day, the next week. It came in later. Sure? And then the volume, the exchanges, the trap, SEC, all those crazy stuff did happen. Now, what's next? Are you following a similar pattern here? Or are you trending to the downside? What do you think is happening in front of you? Because the moment you look at the RSI and you see a fake out there, you should be optimistic, in my humble opinion, because that fake out last time showed you we are nearing the start of it. Now, if you plot that here, what do you see? Do you see a fake move here? Similar to that of this one? Similar to that of this one? Maybe it's just my eyes, but I do see something. That means you should also be looking at the price action as much zoomed out as possible to understand what the choppiness looks like before the price explodes. Whether it's XRP, whether it's a smart contracts guy, whether it's a gaming, infrastructure, whichever asset you choose. You need to know what that asset is looking like on the macro, the micro, and try to position yourself as much as possible. Because this market is now making people frustrated. And that's when very few come out on top of it with the discipline and patience, and the market will reward them. If we, as an investor, as a group, want to take benefit of the market, you need to look through a lot of different things. Whether it's the stock market, whether it's the liquidity cycle, whether it's the crypto market. Basically, if you see the market trending higher, why worry at that time? It's the entire market going up and very few assets getting hit. And some of them are still trending higher on a monthly, on a quarterly, on a yearly. So that's showing you a huge opportunity to buy. So use that for your advantage. So guys, if you receive value, smash that like button. And if you want to get these kind of calls at the right time, join the SI family with 1,000+ members are readily taking benefits of all of that and even going on the one-on-one sessions with me, talking through your portfolio. What I think is right, what I think looks bad, what I think looks worse. Some of them look exactly same like my portfolio. I'm like, whoa, they've already put in a ton of time and effort. That looks really great. Some of them look heavily risky, but they didn't mean to make it that risky. So if that's you, you should be worried. Now, if you are like, okay, I'm a high risk guy, but your portfolio looks like you're a low risk guy, okay, the risk to reward which you are looking at will not be met. So you need to take time and look through your portfolio. If you want to help, SI family is here, I'm here. So guys, I'll meet you on the next video. Bye for now.